I think content in the future is going to get really hard, like, worded content or visual content as well, because everyone's getting so much better at it. Like AI tools are, getting better and better every single day. So I think something that, I want to share with our viewers, I guess, is even though it's important to crank out content really, really fast, you got to make sure it's good. Because there's no point getting a click if there's no conversion or action that was taken from it. Because what's the point? You got 2,000, 4,000 clicks on your website, but no one converted. No point. So don't forget to make sure that your stuff is actually quality and you're thinking about the reader or the user, and then trying to make their life easier or solve their problems and actually help them, rather than just cranking out blog content. I actually have a kind of like funny story. So back in the day, I think this was when AI wasn't even that good as well.
2 years ago, really.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 years ago. It's been that long. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we were on like ChatGPT 3.5 or something, right? It was crazy. But anyway, so we had a client who was doing concrete polishing, right? So like, shining the concrete floors and whatnot. And then I thought it was a brilliant idea to write 1,000 blogs and just crank them out. And I was like, a click is a click. And I
think I remember this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is when we first met as well.
Yeah, I think so.
You're like, man, I'm polishing the search results, man. They are mine.
It was wild. Anyway, so I wrote 1,000 blogs with AI. They were rubbish. They were just like, it was just
but
like
it worked,
AI
right? It
spit. No, it didn't work at all, actually. So yeah, nothing happened from that. So
there were a lot of case studies back then where people were just like doing it and it was working. But I think about 6 months later, it wasn't working.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting because I would say only like 5% of them were actually in like rankable positions. So 95% of them never hit the first page because they were crap. They actually offered like no value, right?
So what did you change out of that process to take your AI use to what it is now?
Yeah, so I think that was a really important stepping stone for me to understand that publishing content at scale that is crap does not work, because there was a good learning lesson. I was like, okay, I literally posted 1,000 and I got nothing from it. It's a complete waste of time, but except for that learning nugget. What I learned from that was that the issue with those blogs was that I didn't like QA them. I didn't think about the user. They weren't actually targeting questions people were actually answering or asking, sorry. So yeah, what I learned was, number one, is you got to make sure that the UX is right on the blog. Like the UX is so important on the blog. Like imagine you had a disgusting, humongous, intimidating wall of text. Nobody's going to read it. Even if they clicked through, they're going to click out super fast. So you got to make sure that when someone actually comes onto the blog, it looks really visually appealing and you're trying to get them to read to the bottom or at least the middle of the page, right? So that was probably number one. Number two is conciseness of words. So what we spoke about before, value per sentence needs to be extremely high.
Value per sentence.
Value per sentence, yeah.
Coin that term, that's a good one.
Yeah. But for example, if you guys haven't checked out Lawrence's Soaring for Search LinkedIn blog, that's actually a good example of value per sentence, because you're really stingy with the amount of words that you use on that blog. So
you know why? Backlinko. That's the reason why.
There you go.
Exactly. You just don't use too many words.
Don't use too many words. Like people don't have time these days. They want to find out answers like quick
and
as
even
possible.
the space, you're talking about UX, the spacing between the sentences is sometimes so impactful. Like sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a bit shorter, but you have to almost read the tempo of how people generally read. I'm a very like scan person, so those blogs actually work well for me. But if you're actually reading, if the user likes a real big wall of text because they like reading massive studies, that's probably a good section of users to target, and that's a target audience. So maybe there's a nuance as part of the UX, and I'm sure you've discovered this, that if a contractor looking for a delivery job, how do they read? You think about how they actually read.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really like good one that people often forget, is even the line spacing and like how many sentences you use between the next paragraph is part of the UX experience. It's part of like how easy do you make it for that person to digest and navigate through your content is like so important. You can't just get that like 4 sentence, 5 sentence paragraph straight from ChatGPT and then put it into your blog, because people aren't going to read it because they're like, holy crap, like this thing is so dense. Like, you really have to like cut that thing down. And then, I think what I spoke about before was super important as well. a picture speaks 1,000 words. You can have fantastic writing on your page, to be honest, but if it doesn't have great supporting imagery, it's not going to convert as well. And just having huge CTA banners that say explicitly what your most attractive offer is, it will just make that blog convert so much better. Literally big banner with big bold writing with some sort of image of what you want the client to do or what their dream outcome is. Like for example, if you're like a moving company, you'd say like, do you need, and this blog was how to pack and move your kitchen, right? That big CTA banner could just be like, do you need your kitchen packed and moved in the next 30 days? Get 10% off here. And then just having that banner on the page will make that blog convert so many more leads just because you have an offer on the page or a natural transition to next step rather than burying that CTA into the text, which takes up so much less real estate on the page and it will just get missed 95% of the time.
And you're observing what people want. Like they want a deal, so give them a deal on that page. It's not going to apply to every page, but it will apply to that page because that's what the intent is. The truly intent is not just informational, navigational. It's like what do they actually really want beyond that point? You got to think about intent almost after the fact to really get that click through, get that conversion.
Yeah, definitely.